Hey guys, today we're going to be going over red dot versus iron sights with your Springfield Hellcat. Let's get right into the first 30-second breakdown. That's where in the first 30 seconds, give or take, I give you guys my exact thoughts before we get into the full review. That way you guys can just stop watching because now you know exactly what I think, or you can continue watching, find out exactly why I say those things, and it does help with the YouTube algorithm. So red dot versus iron sight. This is always a question that people have. I wanted to really narrow it down to just the Hellcat. For those of you that are wondering if you should get the OSP model, is it worth the extra money, or just stick with the iron sights? And I will say red dot is always king in my mind. It is so much easier just to line up one thing opposed to lining up two things. I think it's far superior, it's more accurate, it's easier to use. Now the only downfall is going to be this is going to be a lot more expensive because you got to buy the more expensive model along with the optic, and this one has to have a plate system as well. So price is going to play a factor. So if price is a big deal on your list of options between the two, this one might kick the red dot out because it does add a significant amount of price. There are some limitations with the red dot though, being the fact that it's so small. It is a little bit of a learning curve, so we'll go over that a little bit later, but that does kind of play a role as well. So it's a little bit harder to use than your normal red dots because of the size. So now let's get into the full review and go over both these iron sights and red dot and hopefully help you make a better decision on which one you want to go with. Let's start with the iron sights. The iron sights that actually come with this gun are really good. I've said this in both my review videos of this gun. If you guys want to check that out, I'll link that. But the iron sights on this gun come stock really, really nice. It's not like Glock where I usually upgrade every sight that I get. The irons are really good. They work well. I was able to shoot up to 50 yards pretty accurately and confidently. So really accuracy isn't too big of a deal because much farther than that, you're not going to be shooting accurately or confidently with a gun this size. I mean, some people might be able to, but me personally, I know my limitations, and 50 yards is about my limitations with this gun, but the iron sights make it a lot easier. Iron sights are true, they're very simple, and usually pretty hard to break or anything like that. So for those of you that are really trusted in your iron sights, it's really what everyone has already practiced on and learned on. This is a really good setup, and there's nothing wrong with it if you chose this route, or if you already bought this one and you're wondering, now should I upgrade? Nothing wrong with this at all. I'm still very happy with this, and this is the gun that I actually carry. This is my wife's gun. We ended up switching though because I could carry this one so I could get used to it and see how I liked it, but originally this was mine. The biggest benefit to this is it's going to be simple, no frills, nothing really to go wrong, and the fact that it's cheaper. You're just going to buy the gun and done. You're not going to do anything else to it, so that is a big benefit. I do have a video I made if you guys want to check that out that is specifically over iron sights versus red dot. It goes over all the pros and cons of iron sights and red dot, so if you want to see that, this one's just more specific to the Hellcat itself. So now let's go on to the red dot. Let's go right into the pros. The biggest pro is just ease of use, accuracy. Works really well on this system, makes it a little bit more accurate in my mind. I was able to a little bit more quickly transition from targets, and that to me is a really big benefit, especially when it comes to a concealed gun, something you're using for home defense, or just something this small and it's a little bit harder to shoot. Now they did add the new 15-round mags, which makes the grip even bigger and easier to use. I got a video on that one as well if you guys want to see that, but it does make this gun a little bit easier to control and shoot, having that longer grip, especially for those of you that have bigger hands. I have smaller hands, so it's not super big of a deal, but for those of you with bigger hands, that might be a game changer for this gun as well, so look into those 15-round mags if you haven't. For those of you that are already comfortable with red dot, this is going to be very easy transition, but there's one thing that I wanted to note that I didn't think about, is the size. I am used to an SRO. This is what I usually go out and shoot with. Transition to something this small, it is much harder to keep that dot from jumping out and not being able to find it. So it was a little bit of a learning curve for me to be able to find that dot and keep it where I wanted it. But other than that, it wasn't too bad because I've been used to red dot. If I was going from irons to something this small, it might be a little bit more difficult because red dot is definitely a learning curve if you haven't done it before. Finding the dot, it's really goofy at first, but once you get it, it's not a problem. But switching to something smaller like this, I did notice a little bit difference, and I had to get used to it again before I could really get comfortable with it. So for those of you that maybe don't even like the bigger red dots because of that, you really might not like the smaller ones because it's even harder. That's kind of the name of the game. It's a smaller gun, so they had to make it smaller. So there's really not much they could do about it. I mean, this is still fairly big for what it is, and it's still concealable. But that is something to think about when looking at the red dots. Another thing is going to be the expense. You're going to have to buy the plate, you're going to have to buy the optic, you're going to put all that in, go out and sight it in and everything. So it does take more time and more money. So if adding more money to the gun itself is not an option, then this is not the route to go. Now I would say if you're just not sure, maybe later you'll do it, just not right now, you're going to get the gun and then wait, get the OSP model. I think it's like $50 more. It's not that much more because it's going to be a lot more in the long run if you do end up wanting to switch, having to buy a completely different gun, or milling it out later on. It's just easier to have the OSP part and have the optic cut already. You can leave the plate in there, run it how it is, and then switch later. So that is something I would recommend doing if you're kind of on the fence and not really sure. Next thing is the fact that it's just the mechanical part. Red dots do have mechanical issues, so if that's a no-go for you, then it's just gonna be an easy choice. But other than that, red dots have really come a long way, especially pistol dots, and I have yet to have any issues with any of mine. I can still carry with red dots, I can still carry with iron sights. I've never had issue with either. And that's what it really comes down to, is personal preference. I highly recommend getting your hands on both of these, going out and shooting them, maybe find a buddy that has one and another, or go to a gun range if you can and rent them or something. Just handle them both, see which one you like, and find out what's your best. What I like might not be what you like. This gun right here is built exactly the way I want it and everything that I want it. This might not be great for the next person that uses it. It's all about personal preference. I'm just going to give you guys my opinion and the things that I have found after using these, and hopefully that'll help you be able to make a better decision for yourself. So in the end, both of these options are actually really good options. It's really whatever you're most proficient with and what you're most comfortable with. I personally choose the red dot because I think it's better, faster, easier, but it's gonna come down to personal preference for you. I really like the fact that companies are making these really small optics for the compact guns. It's really neat to have something this small, be able to shoot accurately and confidently like I can with it. Because I know 5 years ago, you either had a small compact gun that was actually concealable, you would either lose capacity because you'd have 6 rounds plus 1, or the fact that you couldn't hit anything because the thing was horrible and really difficult to shoot. Nowadays, you have these really high capacity small guns that are still pretty accurate to shoot up to a distance. So it's really cool. I like that they keep innovating. I like these companies keep competing and trying to make the better one. Now that they added the 15-round mag, this one makes the Hellcat even better and even higher on the list. So pretty cool that they keep doing this. I hope they continue to make every gun compatible with red dots, because I think that's kind of the future. Other than that, if you guys want to help out the channel and the things that I do here, there's a couple ways to do that. Down in the description, there are some discount codes from companies I trust. If you want to use those, save yourself a little bit of money. Also, there's a link to my website. From there, you can use other links to other websites like Brownells, Air Precision, Premier Body Armor. Anything you purchase using my link shows those companies I'm generating traffic, and that helps out the channel a ton. So I appreciate if you guys do those things. If not, I just appreciate you guys being here, liking, sharing, and subscribing. Got a couple companies that support me are Howitzer. These guys are awesome. I love and support their company. They make some great shirts, and they donate 5% of proceeds to charity, and they've donated a ton of money, which is really cool. Another company is TA Targets. Really love what this company stands for and the things that they put out. They make very high quality targets, and I think it's important to get that, because if you buy cheaper ones, you have the chance of having ricochets and other bad things happening, which is never good. I actually had a buddy that shot a cheaper steel target and ended up ricocheting, hit him in the belly. Luckily, it did not go through, but it could have been a lot worse than it was, and that is kind of scary to see that. Ever since then, I've purchased more high quality targets, and I've never had any issues, and TA Targets is fantastic. If you guys want to save 10% off, you can use my code Tactical Advisor. I just finished building this gun, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. If you guys are interested, I can do a full overview showing you everything about it, but I'm currently testing the Holosun laser and the Mod Light. The Mod Light will probably get a review video here shortly. The laser, I want to get some more rounds through it and do some more night vision stuff, playing around with it. We're actually going out tonight, and a video will be on this along with my night vision setup, kind of going over the benefits of night vision, if it's worth the price and all of that. But other than that, this gun is really cool. I'm really happy with it. Heading out tonight and getting some more rounds through it and testing these two out with night vision. But if you guys have any questions on this setup, let me know. If you guys would like to see a full video on this entire build, I will do that as well. Other than that, guys, thank you guys so much for being here. Hopefully this video helps you, and we'll see you guys later.